After the first wave of free agency, I'm calling my shot. My bold prediction is Jeremiyah Love will be a top 5 pick.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast, your daily podcast covering your favorite draft prospects, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Damian Parson. I'm an NFL draft analyst for Bleacher Report. And as always, thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen of the day. And thank you for making the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network in America. It's all because of you. I'm calling my shot. Bold predictions after the first wave of NFL free agency, because things in the top 10 picks will change. And we're going to talk about that. Jeremiyah Love now being locked in as a top 5 pick. Bold take, true take. We'll talk about that. Rueben Bain Jr. potentially falling outside of the top 10. And there's a new left tackle that should be OT1 on the left side of the offensive line climbing into the top 10. But before we get into all of that, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger potential wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. Bold takes, or as we like to call it, call your shot.
Call your shot. No maybes or fence sitting. This is the call.
Jeremiyah Love. If there's anybody that benefited from free agency in terms of their NFL draft stock, I think it has to be the elite running back from Notre Dame, Jeremiyah Love. Before free agency kicked off this week, a lot of talk and belief when it pertains to Jeremiyah Love that he was going to be going more than likely top 10, but we're looking towards the back of top 10, right? 7 to the Commanders. 8 was the sweet spot for the New Orleans Saints. Kansas City Chiefs was the other spot at number 9. So he was still expected to go top 10. Well, he's still expected to go top 10, but now things are let's just say things have anteed up a little bit. Things have ratcheted up just a little bit. His stock has elevated just a tad because of the fact that it's what we've seen. Those 2 of the teams I just mentioned went ahead and signed new running backs in free agency, with the Kansas City Chiefs coming to a deal with Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker leaving Seattle to go to the Kansas City Chiefs. And then the Saints still having Alvin Kamara there. They went through free agency and they signed Jacksonville Jaguars former starting running back Travis Etienne Jr. to a 4-year, $52 million deal with $13 million APY. So what does that say? That, to me, sounded the alarm that those 2 teams that were potential landing spots for Jeremiyah Love understands that he's more than likely not going to be there. Jeremiyah Love, and hear me when I'm saying this. Now, there's already rumbles. There's been rumbles for a little while now that the Giants have been doing their homework on the explosive 3-down back, impact player that is Jeremiyah Love for the NFL draft. And they're sitting at 5. Well, while they're doing, and they're still, I think he's supposed to meet with them soon, or if he hasn't already, he's going to. But it's what we saw at number 4. The Tennessee Titans bringing in John Franklin Myers, trading for early in the offseason Jeremiah Johnson as well. What they signed 2 corners. They signed Wan'Dale Robinson to like a $75 million deal to bring in a quick winning slot receiver to help Cam Ward play on time, play on schedule, and everything like that can get yards after the catch and all of those good things. Well, what does that mean then? Like, what does that mean for the draft? That means that they've positioned themselves in a way that, okay, could you go Jordan Tyson? Sure. But for what I've known, this is a team in terms of the Tennessee Titans. They were high on Eli Manor. I found out, prior to training camp that he was being viewed and groomed and prepped to be their X-wide receiver. Shamir DK has 4.4 speed. He can take the top off the defense, and he's a pretty solid route runner and just a developing player overall. Also gives you special teams value. He can line up as that Z, and now you bring in a Wan'Dale Robinson on a nice deal for Wan'Dale especially. You bring him in, and that means, hey, we're not going Jordan Tyson. We're not drafting Mekhi Lemon. We're not drafting Carnell Tate because it doesn't make sense. If you're high on the guys you already have, and then you bring another guy in on a good player deal, like a deal a player would love, yeah, that kind of means that you're not looking at wide receiver, at least not at 4. So where do you go? And to me, it has to be Jeremiyah Love. I think this is the team that's going to get Jeremiyah Love. They're going to add him in that backfield. I believe all the guaranteed money for Tony Pollard's contract, if I remember correctly, guys, you can fact check me, all right, and hit me up on Twitter, or if you're watching this on YouTube, drop in the comments. I'm pretty sure that Tony Pollard's his guaranteed money is all done. He's been paid that guaranteed money, and they can cut him either before or post June 1. So if that is the case, I think it makes perfect sense. My bold take is that Jeremiyah Love goes top 5, and he's going to land with the Tennessee Titans. Now, some people might say, hey, we feel the same way. It might not be bold. I'm telling you right now, I'm calling my shot. I'm calling my shot. That is what's going to happen. Jeremiyah Love will be a top 5 pick. He'll be drafted higher than Ashton Jeanty was last year. I have him much greater, good couple points higher than Ashton Jeanty, and I love both players, but Jeremiyah Love is a special back, and the Tennessee Titans are getting someone that's going to help out their young quarterback. But guys, coming up next, Rueben Bain Jr. potentially falling down the board a little bit into the teens and out of the top 10. Is it a real possibility? I'm going to call my shot next.
Hey, it's Matt Derry from the Locked On Lions podcast. The people I love depend on me. If I'm gone, the financial responsibilities don't disappear. I didn't want my family figuring things out during the hardest moment of their lives. That's why I knew only one place to go. I chose life insurance through my friends at Ethos. Ethos makes getting life insurance fast and easy, 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. There's no medical exam. You just answer a few simple health questions. You can get up to $3 million in coverage. Some policies are as low as $30 a month. I love the folks at Ethos. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos now by going to ethos.com/LockedOnNFL. In as little as 10 minutes, you can get the free quote and up to $3 million in coverage at ethos.com/LockedOnNFL. That is ethos.com/LockedOnNFL. Ethos.com/LockedOnNFL. Application times and rates may vary.
Calling my shot, bold takes that Rueben Bain Jr. could fall out of the top 10. That's what I'm discussing next. But free agency is here, and so are we. Get 1 month free of the Everydayer Club with code FREEAGENCY, no spaces, now through March 15th. Go ad free and keep this discussion going on Discord. Join the club at LockedOnNFLDraft.supercast.com. Rueben Bain Jr., one of our top players in the 2026 NFL draft class. Matter of fact, like, he is, I believe, a top 15, top 10 pick for us right now, guys, right now. So I just want you to understand that this is no Rueben Bain hate here. If there's anybody that's been pounding the table to say, I don't care about arm length, Rueben Bain Jr. is a butt kicker and just a dominant player. Well, that's us here at the Locked On NFL Draft, to be completely honest with you. And that's how it's going to be. Rueben Bain Jr. is currently 5th on our big board, which we'll be updating every 2 weeks from now on until the NFL Draft, or maybe a week. We'll see how it goes. And, of course, you can join the Discord and holler at us about it. But understand something. With Rueben Bain Jr., guys, the way that the top 10 right now looks, right? If, let's say, I'm going to do a top 10 mock for you right now, Fernando Mendoza at number 1. I believe Arvell Reese will be going to the New York Jets at number 2. The Cardinals don't need to draft another defensive lineman. They need O-line help. They need running back help too, but they decided to sign the same archetype of running back over and over again this offseason, just securing that tank, I guess. But they will go Francis Maui Noah, or more than likely Francis Maui Noah, right tackle, because they're good with Paris Johnson at the left. Number 4, I just told you at the beginning of the show that I believe my hot take, my bold take, my calling my shot is that Jeremiyah Love will be the 4th overall pick to the Tennessee Titans. At number 5, that is a Sonny Styles landing spot that I am not budging off of right now until something changes. And number 6, I don't foresee another defensive lineman going to the Browns. They're looking at wide receiver or tackle. We'll talk about that tackle in the next topic. Number 7 could be a spot But then you also are battling with David Bailey, who most would believe would agree he's probably the better pure pass rusher out of the two in terms of him and Rueben Bain. Better athlete, longer arms, all of that good stuff. At 8, maybe, but this is a team with the Saints that need a wide receiver. Same thing for the Kansas City Chiefs. They need right tackle, they need D-line, and they need wide receiver. And then I think the one spot that's a sneaky spot could be the Cincinnati Bengals. But if Caleb Downs is there and then knowing that they have a need at safety, yeah, I think it becomes a little bit of a murky situation. So there is a chance that he could fall out of the top 10. I just did a mock earlier today with my guy Ray Garvin. That's my brother. So we just did a mock on YouTube on his channel, and I'll drop that mock in the comments on YouTube, and it's up on Twitter and everything as well at Ray GQ and on my Twitter page as well, DP_NFL. And I had Rueben Bain Jr. he fell out of the top 10 and he fell right to the Dallas Cowboys. I think that makes a ton of sense, right? He brings everything they need, but it's just hard to pinpoint an ideal spot. The Titans were one of the teams that you felt like, man, if anybody pulls the trigger on Rueben Bain, it's the Tennessee Titans. And they went, like, again, John Franklin Myers, Jeremiah Johnson, okay? Improve the wide receiver situation, improve the cornerback situation. They're setting themselves up for BPA. And while I love Rueben Bain, I have Jeremiyah Love as the much higher graded prospect. So nonetheless, I think that they go BPA and they go running back. So that means that Rueben Bain would not, because I feel like if they want another edge, which they probably do, they're going to wait more than likely until day 2 to get another edge. And this edge class is a deep class. You can find yourself a 4-3 edge, a 3-4 in, a 3-4 outside linebacker. You can find that for sure without a question. So I think that's where I look at it. There's no designated spot. Again, at 8 to the Saints, if they're really losing Cameron Jordan, I don't know if he's signed anywhere yet, but if they're really losing Cameron Jordan, that is a real possibility that you can go ahead and add a Rueben Bain there. Again, you can add Rueben Bain to the Chiefs as well, but these are two teams who also have need at receiver. Heck, the Chiefs need corner after losing, 2 of their top 3 corners to free agency. I don't know. Like, if Mansour Delane's there at 9, will Spagnuolo say, give me Rueben Bain over a potential lockdown type of corner? I don't know. Jamal McCoy, he goes to his pro day, he rips and runs and tears it up. Now everybody's like, you know what? He looks like the guy we saw in 2024. He looks healthy, and this is months before training camp. What are we saying, right? So I just want you to, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Y'all my family. I love y'all. My everydayers. If you haven't converted to be an everydayer, do so, right? You can do it by subscribing to the podcast and going to LockedOnNFLDraft.supercast.com, and you can join the Discord, the Locked On NFL Draft Discord, and you can chop it up with me and Keith at any time. Fan mail Fridays, stuff like that. We're about to get that stuff going and popping, but it's only going to be for our Discord members. So if you want to ask us a question that we answer here live on the show for you, I'm thinking about mock drafts. Like, have you dropped your own mock draft in there? We review it and tell you, for your favorite team, do a 7-round mock, and we'll tell you how we feel about it. That's only going to be for our Discord members. But again, I just look at it. There's no designated spot that you just say, you pencil in and say Rueben Bain Jr. has to go here. I don't think that's a real thing right now. And again, great player, top 10 player on our board, but we see top 10 players fall all the time. We see it all the time. Positional value, different things of that nature, whatever. Like, we see guys fall and slip down the boards all the time. So I just want to prepare you guys that we could wake up day 2, that Friday, the 27th, I think, of April, and Rueben Bain wasn't a top 10 pick, and that's okay. That's completely fine. I still think he's a top 15 pick. I think he's a top 10 prospect, but I definitely could see him falling into the teens. And if that happens, some team, maybe the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones, would be absolutely happy getting what's such a destructive, angry, violent, and physical force on the football field like a Rueben Bain Jr. So don't get this twisted. Not saying that he should fall. I'm just telling you and painting a picture and giving you the bold take of it all. There's a strong chance he does fall outside of the top 10, and somebody in the teams is going to be very, very happy. But closing out this bonus show for you guys, talking about a left tackle that could go as high as top 7, Monroe Freeland out of Georgia. Come on down. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. March is a time to celebrate women, especially around International Women's Day, and to recognize just how much they carry at work, in relationships, in families, and in all the unseen roles they step into every single day. It's easy to celebrate that strength, but it's just as important to make space for their emotional well-being. And honestly, that goes for all of us. I think about my wife and how much she carries without always saying something. And it makes me think, how many of us are doing the exact same thing in the roles that we play, the expectations we carry, the pressure we don't always talk about and discuss? But therapy can help with all of that, creating balance, setting healthy boundaries, and supporting your overall well-being. Your emotional well-being matters. Find support and feel lighter in therapy. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/lockedon. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen of the day. And thank you for making the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network in America. It's all because of you. Monroe Freeling, left tackle for the Georgia Bulldogs, climbing his way inside the top 10. I am calling my shot. When you look at the Cleveland Browns and what they've been able to do on their offensive line just this offseason, I'm preparing you guys. We could see Monroe Freeland, I think he's a first-year starter, one-year starter for the Georgia Bulldogs at left tackle. We could end up seeing him like come off the board just a lot sooner than expected, right? And it's just a simple fact of the matter is the Cleveland Browns brought in with Titus Howard, Zion Johnson. They brought in some good offensive linemen that's going to fill specific needs and everything else that like just filled specific holes on this team. And, you know, like I said, Zion Johnson, guard, that was drafted to the Los Angeles Chargers. They signed him. They signed Elton Jenkins, who plays guard and center from the Green Bay Packers. They re-signed Tevin Jenkins, offensive lineman that they had. I believe he was already on the roster, 28-year-old offensive lineman and guard and everything. So that's 3 guys there. Again, Titus Howard was right tackle trade. So you're talking about let's go from right to left. Right tackle, Titus Howard, right? Let's say guard. I believe that's going to be between, if they feel good for Tevin Jenkins, maybe Tevin Jenkins starts at right guard. Elton Jenkins, because he's played both center and guard, we could see him playing center again, right? So let's say he plays center. So you got the Jenkins brothers, Tevin Jenkins, Elton Jenkins. They are not related, but you understand what I'm saying. Tevin Jenkins at right guard, Elton Jenkins at center, and then you have Zion Johnson at left guard. All you're needing now is a 6'7", 315-pound left tackle out of Georgia that's going to help make things a lot easier. And then putting him with veteran offensive linemen, and for him to learn from a Titus Howard, for him to have a Zion Johnson as his bumper inside. At 6, that's where I believe the Cleveland Browns at 6 is the sweet spot for Monroe Freeling. This guy has all of the physical tools. Again, 6'7", 315 pounds, 10 3/4 on the hand, 34 3/4 on the arm. He ran sub-5 in the 40-yard dash, and he jumped 33.5 inches. And just for just for context, Denzel Boston's wide receiver, he's much lighter than Monroe Freeling. He only jumped 35. So Monroe Freeling was 33.5. Denzel Boston jumped 35. So the point is, and what I'm making is that's my take, that I believe that the Browns are setting themselves up. I get it. Yes. Does Cardinal Tate make so much sense here? He does. But are you running it back with just DeJuan Jones at left tackle? I don't know if that is a smart idea. Here's why, guys. Think about this. They're clearly emphasizing the offensive line because one of the biggest issues was the offensive line. And if you are, they said it's going to be an open QB competition between Deshaun Watson and between Shedeur Sanders. I don't know if Dylan Gabriel is going to get any of those first team reps. It might be reversed. Remember last year during during training camp, we saw like Shedeur wasn't getting any first team reps. I expect him to get first team reps this year. I don't think Dylan Gabriel is going to get those first team reps. So here's the thing. What do you want to do if it is Shedeur that wins the QB competition? You want to limit how he feels in the pocket. You want to secure him in the pocket. You want to create advantageous blocking situations. And by putting the talent in front of him, allows him to go back to Jackson State at the HBCU level, where when I remember watching him, I was so excited about him going to Colorado because this young man wasn't drifting. He was stepping up. He was climbing in the pocket. He was ripping throws with confidence. You want him to get back to playing like that and trusting the 5 men in front of him. So that's all I'm saying, guys. Hear me. That Monroe Freeland, that's why I say I'm calling my shot right now. Unless they sign some veteran left tackle or they make a trade for Trent Williams, if they don't do that, the Cleveland Browns, I believe, will be drafting a left tackle at 6. It won't be Caleb Lomu. It won't be a Francis Mawinoa to flip to left tackle like Talisi Fuaga with the Saints. It will be Georgia 315-pounder, 6'7", left tackle, Monroe Freeland. But guys, that's the Bold Takes show. But I wanted to bring you a bonus episode. It was on my mind, on my heart. I wanted to chop it up with you guys. But as always, go subscribe and follow for free on YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts, to get the latest episode as soon as it is available. Guys, on tomorrow's show, we are breaking down Mansour Delane's NFL 2026 NFL Draft Scouting Report. Keith and I will break that down. So come and join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.